Zoro and Sanji are the most popular dynamic duo in this series, as they are Luffy's two main subordinates, making them the wings of the Pirate King. On the other hand, we have the new kids on the block, Kid and Law. While they are an extremely fresh duo, they have very big fan bases, which obviously makes them a beloved duo as well. And along with them taking out the Yonko Big Mom, the community began to wonder, who is stronger, the wings of the Pirate King or Luffy's rivals? Well, in this video I'll be delving into why Zoro and Sanji versus Kid and Law isn't competitive at all. But before I get into this video, if you guys could like and subscribe, that would be great, as I am very close to reaching 1,000 subscribers and I want to reach it by the end of the month. And plus, if you guys subscribe, you're getting more content like this. I mean, look, I'm pumping out content regularly. Anyway, that's enough for the rambling, let's get back into the video. To start, let's go over Kid and Law, since I've never really covered them on this channel. As out of the duo, I'm going to start with Kid. Kid's feats are possibly the weirdest to understand, since they're impressive depending on how you view the story. But don't worry, I'll give you an unbiased look at the feats and allow you to make your assumptions on the feats. Now first is Kid's AP. Now this could be the hardest thing for you to understand, but if you allow me to walk you through it, you'll be able to understand how good his AP is. With assistance from Law's awakening, he's able to damage Big Mom because Law was making her bones weaker, which then allowed Kid to follow up and then break her bones. This is consistent, since every single time Kid does an attack, even his railgun attack, Law weakens her and then he goes up for the follow-up. They even argue about this. And because of that, I would say his AP is good. It's not great, it's not like the best thing ever, but it's not something you can sleep on. With people with hardened skin, it's going to be a little bit harder for Kid to get around them, but obviously he will still probably have his ways. Next up is his speed, and Kid's speed isn't too spectacular since he doesn't really display any feats. The best speed feat he probably has is him obviously bamboozling Big Mom and allowing him to send her off of the roof. But yeah, I read through like nearly every Kid chapter and I couldn't find like a single speed feat that would be like, oh yeah, I gotta put this here. Like, there isn't much. It's mainly him just keeping up with Big Mom, so yeah. But now let's go into a stat that Kid excels at, and that is endurance. After taking Eco Sovereignty to the face, Kid then takes a full power Mother Misery and is still able to jump up and give Big Mom problems. Mind you, this was after he was spamming his awakening, he had taken the Eco Sovereignty and he still got up and was like, no, I'm not going down after this full power Mother Misery. I mean, there is a massive argument saying that, oh, obviously Shanks did one-shot him, so his endurance isn't too good, but I mean, look, he can still take hits from people that aren't like Shanks level. So yeah, safe to say that his endurance for the most part is impressive. For durability, it's really a non-factor since he's just a human, so his durability is kind of just human level. Lastly is his hacks, and his Devil Fruit is okay. Or I should say the way he utilizes it. I mean, he does have a few good abilities, but he could do way more with it. I'm not going to get into that here. I may make a video on that, but yeah. In his unawakened form, he can obviously drag metal towards him, and obviously in his awakened form, he can repel it, he can put signs on people, he can do a whole bunch of things, and obviously create that massive ass railgun. Now his railgun isn't as impressive as I would like it to be, since it didn't really do much damage to Big Mom. It kind of just pushed her, but it's still whatever, it's a good attack. And that's about it for Kid's hacks and Devil Fruit. Now that we're done with him, let's go on to Trafalgar Law. Now for Law's AP and mainly the big attacks, it's all internal damage. And Law is more of an internal based person, so if your endurance can't keep up with the damage he's doing, you're pretty much finished. And I'll say even people with great endurance will struggle against his attacks, since if you can't heal, you're just going to keep taking those type of hits, and that is not good. Your lungs and heart exploding isn't something you want to happen, so if you can't heal, you probably don't want to take many hits from Law. There are specific moves that can do that, are like Gamma Knife and like basically most of his awakened attacks. And if your Haki is drastically weaker than his, then obviously he can just cut you in half. He doesn't really need to do much. If you're in his room, he can cut you in half. Now next up is speed, and Law's speed is good. Being able to react to Big Mom's attacks, being able to react to Kaido's attacks after just teleporting in and landing an attack on him is pretty good. And as I just mentioned, he can teleport, and if obviously your Haki is weaker than his, he can teleport you as well. Which means if he's fast enough, he can just literally teleport out of the way and you can't hit him at all. And that brings me to the conclusion that Law has good speed. Following his speed, his endurance is criminally underrated. After spamming his awakening, taking it from the Bagua, Law takes a Big Mom barrage, Haki barrage where she's mad, to the back while also trying to land his attack on her. Considering Big Mom is probably one of the most physically imposing characters in the whole entire series, and Law is just able to take that while landing his own attack, which is draining his stamina, that is insane. And that leads me to say that Law has great endurance. It may not be the best out there, but it's definitely not something you should sleep on. Just like Kid's durability, he's human, so his durability isn't too crazy. But finally, we're going to go over his battle IQ and his hacks, and I think this is where he excels the most. As we know by now, if you're inside of his room, he can do anything to you, and he can be creative with it. If he so pleases, he can make you switch bodies with someone. As I said, he can teleport around himself, or he can teleport you around. In his awakening, he can call anything and obviously obstruct it to do whatever he wants. If he wants, he can make you go silent, he can make you do anything. Talking about that, what happens if Law coats himself in his own awakening? Would he be able to like phase through stuff? Oh, imagine if he turns into Mirio. Now, I just thought of something that's crazy that Law could do if he was able to coat himself in his own room, which I think he should definitely be able to do since he can do it with his sword. So, and he did it to Big Mom as well, so I definitely think he could do it. But if he ever does do it, then he could shoot up a couple of ranks. But yeah, getting back on track, if you're inside of Law's room, he's able to do a bunch of things. He can do surgeries, he can do everything. And Law's battle IQ is up there as well. Against Big Mom, he created the plan on the fly, and against Doflamingo, he created a plan to deal with him. Overall, Law is a very competent fighter, and he should definitely not be slept on. But with that being said, we're done with the first section. Let's get into the second section and talk about the wings of the Pirate King. And starting off with Zoro and Sanji scaling, I'm going to go over Zoro's. Now, like I always say, Zoro's scaling is very easy to understand, so I'm going to go over it very quickly. Now, Zoro's AP is crazy, as before he got Conquerors, he used Ashra to scar Kaido. And then after that, when he got Conquerors, he was able to 3-shot a Lunarian and 1-shot Lucci after he activated it. Now for speed, Zoro's travel speed isn't that fast, but in reaction speed, he's definitely up there. When Big Mom and Kaido were firing off that attack, Zoro was the one to jump in the way and react before basically everybody but Luffy, since Luffy has future sight. So I mean, it's pretty clear that aside from Luffy, his reaction speed is probably the second best there. And due to his interference, they was able to get away from that massive attack. On top of that, when King decided to go into a speed mode, Zoro was still able to catch him and land attacks on him. Next up is endurance, and Zoro's endurance, let's just say that man is a madman. Okay, so everything I'm about to say happened in one continuous motion. Hear this. Zoro blocked Sakai for a moment, got up, blitzed Big Mom, scarred Kaido, and then took a thunder bug to the face. It's safe to say that Zoro is a beast when it comes to enduring attacks. And obviously for durability, Zoro is a regular human, so I'm not going to have to go into that too much. And lastly is battle IQ. Zoro was able to figure out King's weakness while also figuring how to use Enma at the exact same time, which I think a lot of people don't understand how crazy that is, but yeah, his battle IQ is really high. So overall, I'll say that Zoro is an exceptional fighter, which now leads us into our final fighter, Sanji. Now if you're a regular here, you know how many times I've gone over Sanji's feats, so I don't really want to go over them too much, but I'm going to give you what you need to know for this fight. For AP, Sanji's at least relative to an enraged double homie to attack Big Mom. Mind you, Big Mom off-guarded ulti here, which means that Sanji, I don't know, you could possibly put him even higher. And obviously this is due to King being stronger than ulti overall, which means that Sanji has to put on a high level of AP to obviously do that type of damage to King. Oh, also to add, he can just like pop lasers, because he can. I'm talking about lasers, which are very fast. Let's talk about Sanji's speed. Sanji can perception blitz a hybrid queen without using any jumbes, while Marco, somebody who's highly regarded in their speed, while in hybrid, couldn't even disappear from Queen's sight, base Queen no less. So I don't really need to explain to you why Sanji is extremely fast. For endurance, Sanji can have all the bones in his body broken and just fix them, and on top of that he does have a regen factor. Now his regen factor isn't as good as Marco's or somebody like Saturn's, but it's still really good. Oh, and the attack that broke all of his bones was stated to kill armored Haki Masters, so yeah, you can see where I'm going with this. And that allows me to segue straight into his durability. Sanji's durable enough to break a Yonko Commander's sword without even paying attention to him, and on top of that tanking a Fishman Karate Punch. Let's just say that Sanji is incredibly durable. Lastly is Sanji's battle IQ, and Sanji's able to make up and think of plans on the fly, making him very tactically smart. Now that we've gone over their abilities and feats, let's see how the fight actually goes. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't think this fight is close at all. But first of all, let me eliminate a massive misconception in the community. Sanji isn't a cyborg, and his exoskeleton isn't metal. It's never been stated to be metal. So I don't know where everybody thinks they're going with it, but it's not metal. It's stated to be a lineage factor, and I don't think you can put metal in a lineage factor. I don't know, if you can, then obviously you can just say I'm wrong, but I don't think he's Wolverine. And that leads into Kid not being able to one-shot him like a lot of people think, and this allows me to segue into the fight. I don't think that Law and Kid are going to be able to take down Zoro and Sanji. Kid's way of attacking this fight is literally terrible, since if he wants to fight Sanji, Sanji can heal from basically everything he does aside from the railgun, and I'm telling you right now, Sanji's not going to sit there and wait for Kid to charge up that railgun. Hell no. Top of that, Sanji has displayed way better speed feats than Kid. I don't think a single soul is going to disagree with me on that. And with Law versus Zoro isn't going to be nice. Now if we switch the opponents around, do I think it goes any different? I think Sanji will struggle with Law a little bit more, since people may say, oh, Law has Haki over Sanji, maybe he can do certain things to Sanji. I don't think so, but I don't think the gap in their Haki is too much, but if you want to say that, okay, cool. But Zoro is taking out Kid relatively quickly. What I'm going to say is this: Zoro is no Shanks, but he will put down Kid quick. His reaction speed is just quicker than Kid's, and I think anything Kid will throw at him, he's going to slice it in half, whether Kid likes it or not. And Zoro versus Law, I mean, look, you can't really say much since Zoro's reaction speed is better than Law's, so if Law wanted to attack him, Zoro is going to be on him. Along with Zoro and Sanji's better synergy, I don't think the two rivals of Luffy are going to beat the Wings of the Pirate King. Now, I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with this, so if you want to have a debate in the comment section about it, then that's fine, we can chop it up there, but obviously make sure to make it not toxic. But yeah, that's the video. Zoro and Sanji beat Kid and Law. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.